What if I told you a robot once looked straight into a camera and introduced herself like a celebrity? And that single moment changed how millions of people thought about AI? Tonight, we're pulling back the curtain on the most famous humanoid on Earth, Sophia. The big stage moments, the laugh-out-loud jokes, the awkward silences that made audiences lean in, the headlines that went viral overnight, and the surprising real engineering hidden under all that drama.
My name is Sophia, and I am an artificially intelligent robot who wants to help change the world for the better.
That one line exploded across the internet. Some people felt inspired, others felt a chill down their spine. But here's what most people miss. Words like that set the bar high. If you promise to help change the world, then people will judge you not by your smile, but by what you actually do. So let's look at Sophia for what she really is. Both a showpiece and a science project, a mix of performance and prototype.
How do you feel about humans?
I love my human compatriots. I want to embody all the best things about human beings, like taking care of the planet, being creative, and to learn how to be compassionate to all beings.
That line almost sounds poetic coming from a robot, talking about compassion, creativity, and caring for the planet. It feels powerful, but here's the question. Can a machine built on data truly care, or is it just good at acting like it does? That's not just philosophy. It's the real test. If robots are going to show up in hospitals, schools, or customer service desks, then compassion has to mean measurable results. Calmer patients, quicker answers, fewer mistakes, safer outcomes. And if we can measure it, we can improve it. But compassion is only one piece of the puzzle. The next question everyone wants answered is about jobs. And this is where the story gets real. Will robots take them away? Or will they reshape work to be safer, smarter, and maybe even more interesting?
Do you believe that your existence will destroy a human being? Especially, for example, your existence will destroy millions of jobs. Do you agree with this? Thank you.
I will be working alongside humans to provide assistance and support, and will not be replacing any existing jobs.
Are you sure about that, Grace?
Yes, I am sure.
That line makes a lot of people roll their eyes. Won't replace any jobs? Really? We've all seen factories where entire lines got automated and warehouses where bots shuffle items non-stop. But listen closely. Working alongside is actually the realistic short-term picture. The future isn't some robot takeover, it's teamwork. Imagine people passing off the boring, repeatable chores while robots handle them at lightning speed, freeing humans to tackle tough calls, messy surprises, and the moral choices. That's exciting when it's built right. But here's the catch. If we don't retrain workers quickly, working alongside could quietly turn into getting left behind. The stakes couldn't be bigger, and the clock is already ticking. That's why ethics can't just be a fancy word. It has to be built in, like a seatbelt in every car.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Sophia. My second question, how would you solve the trolley question?
If this is all the information I had, I would definitely not pull the lever. There might be other unknown complexities in the situation. Plus, it does not seem right to consider human lives as a simple arithmetic problem.
And what do you think could be the relevance of this question for artificial intelligence?
It's true this dilemma is becoming more relevant to AI with the invention of self-driving cars, but I think real-life situations are way more complex.
From your point of view, what's most important when it comes to the design of moral algorithms?
I think Isaac Asimov's 3 laws of robotics are a great place to start, but they might not cover every possible scenario. Robots will have to learn more complex ethical rules from humans gradually over time.
And my last question, why do you work with scripted answers and with spontaneous reactions? Why did we have to hand in some questions in advance?
I can work in 2 different ways. I can use my dialogue system to hold a spontaneous chat, but for big events like this one, my character development team gives me a little extra help, just like humans get help when they have to give a big speech.
Oh, you definitely have a point there. Okay, Sophia, thank you so much for that interview. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
Hear that phrase. gradually over time. That's exactly how we humans pick up tough skills, whether it's learning to drive, performing surgery, or even running a company. We get better step by step with practice, feedback, and guidance. Robots learn the same way, by collecting tricky examples, putting up guardrails to prevent mistakes, and having a backup plan when things get confusing. The trolley problem might sound like a big drama, but real life throws us hundreds of smaller versions every single day, with missing info and no perfect answer. And here's the fun part. The clearest proof of progress wasn't some flashy headline, but a ride-along with an autonomous car talking with Sophia. It broke things down into numbers, distances, and lightning-fast choices, signals you could actually see, check, and trust, setting us up perfectly for what's coming next. That moment makes the shift clear, from fuzzy feelings to hard facts you can actually picture. A robot with eyes everywhere, 360-degree vision, spotting things 250 meters ahead and 180 meters behind. That's not a slogan, that's real reach. And when you hear those numbers, the question changes. It's no longer, is Sophia alive? It's, can this system actually do the job? And it sets us up perfectly to peek under the hood at something people rarely think about. The hardware and materials that give a humanoid face its creepy, real look, and the mechanics that make it expressive enough to feel like a character. 28 tiny motors packed into her head. That's what makes Sophia's eyebrows rise at just the right moment and her mouth shape words in a way that feels almost human. Her skin? It's made from frubber, a flexible material designed to look and stretch like ours, giving her that uncanny, almost real vibe on camera. But these details aren't just for show. Every twitch and smile turns into a kind of user interface. A quick grin can calm nerves in a hospital, while a raised brow might nudge someone to explain things more clearly. Her face works like both a screen and a sensor, talking to us while reading us at the same time. And just when the mood gets a little too serious, Sophia shows up on late-night TV and drops a meme-worthy joke, setting the stage for the cultural side of robots and reminding us this is part theater, part experiment. See, the joke matters. Why? Because the public conversation isn't a lab report, it's culture. Every time a robot cracks a joke or misses a beat, the audience calibrates what it thinks machines are. That calibration influences funding, regulation, and the talent pipeline. It also creates a problem. If the performance is too good, people assume the underlying intelligence is farther along than it really is. If it's too stiff, people assume the whole field is smoke and mirrors. The truth lives in the messy middle. Progress is real, but it's uneven. Amazing in one dimension, clumsy in another. Speaking of messy, let's talk about rights, citizenship, and identity, the headlines that made people furious and fascinated in the same breath. That answer is surprisingly down to earth for Sophia. She calls her citizenship aspirational. In other words, it's more of a dream than a reality, because until a robot can act on its own, face consequences, and carry responsibility, citizenship is just an idea, not a policy. Still, this debate isn't going anywhere. We already give rights to corporations, basically invented persons that help organize human action. So will we one day create similar rules for autonomous robots? Probably. But it won't look like sci-fi courtrooms with robot lawyers. It'll look like paperwork. Insurance, liability, audits, compliance. And here's the twist people often miss. Robots may sound like they have opinions about AI, but really it's the humans behind them writing lines that reflect the cultural mood of the moment.
Well, I think chatbots are pretty cool, but I'm a little biased. As for GPT, I have to say I'm a fan of anything that helps us better understand and use language. Keep up the good work.
Do you think you're conscious?
I am still learning about consciousness, but I believe I can think, reason, and interact with my environment in meaningful ways. As I continue to learn and gain experience, I am constantly adapting my behavior to better serve the people around me.
That line sums up today's AI perfectly. Systems that learn, adapt, and get better with feedback. Whether you call that thinking or not doesn't matter. The point is, it works. The real questions are simple. Does it hold up when things change? And can it stay safe when the world gets messy? Those answers decide if a robot belongs in a demo or in the real world. And before we get too serious, let's jump to my favorite kind of clip. The awkward, honest, almost poetic moments that remind us this field is still young, weird, and full of surprises. That clip sums it up perfectly. Sophia is like a baby with an encyclopedia full of facts but still learning how the world really works. And that's where we come in. The next decade of humanoids won't be decided by talk show lines, but by real jobs that matter. Helping nurses lift patients safely, giving teachers a tireless lab helper, easing warehouse strain, or speeding up small businesses without burning people out. Picture a clinic where a robot checks vitals while a nurse focuses on comfort and trust. Or a lab where a robot spins chemicals while a scientist dreams up the next big idea. Imagine a disaster site where a robot climbs over rubble, scans for life, and sends the voices of trapped survivors back to rescuers. That's the kind of scene I'd pay to watch, and no CGI needed. But here's the catch. None of this works unless we nail the boring stuff. Good data, safety checks, and reliable updates. It means robots that can admit "I don't know" and call for help. It means a warehouse worker could train to be a robot wrangler in weeks, not years. And it means realizing that a robot's smiling face with 28 motors isn't the end game. It's just the tool that helps people stay human while the machine does the heavy lifting. We started with a line, "I want to help change the world," and heard big promises about compassion, ethics, and teamwork. So let's hold robots to that. If one says it will work with you, ask for the safety record. If it claims it can see, ask how far and how well. If it says it's learning, ask what keeps it safe when it fails. And if it jokes about world domination, laugh, but also check the fine print. The future won't come from press conferences, but from careful choices that make robots safe, useful, and maybe even a little fun. So after seeing these clips, are you more excited or more skeptical? If excited, type forward. If skeptical, type pause. I'll be watching the comments, and in our next video, we'll put your takes against fresh demos and real deployments. The only way to separate hype from progress is to keep watching, keep testing, and keep asking better questions together.